Good morning. I want to greet all of you. It is a joy once again to stand here and do this amazing work. I'm going to dive right in. We're going to be talking about the 7 frequencies. Remember the last 2 classes that I had, we talked about the 7 eyes of the Lord and how the 7 eyes are roaming through the entire earth and is seeking certain individuals. And what it is seeking is something they can connect to. Then we went into Revelation and then talked about the 7 spirits of the eyes. 2 Chronicles 16 talked about the 7 eyes. And then in Matthew, it talks about the one eye, the lamp. That is what those frequencies, that is what those spirits are seeking, a resonance. So it's amazing to me. I can't get away from this. I got to stay on this a little longer. The Spirit has me staying here because it starts revealing more and more things about these 7 eyes, these 7 frequencies, these 7 spirits that are in every phase and every part of our lives. Revelation 5:6, the 7 eyes of the Lamb. They are the 7 spirits of God. In Chronicles 16:9, those same eyes roam constantly. They never cease, they never stop. They're always roaming throughout the entire earth. There's no place where these eyes are not. And they're seeking those whose heart is completely His. Isn't that something? So notice that the 7 eyes, they're not watching for your sin. They're not looking for sin. They're not a surveillance system that we're accustomed to. You know, like they say, Big Brother, oh, he's looking at us to see what we're doing. It's not about that. They are frequencies of divine intelligence, and they're seeking one thing, a coherent receiver. Who can receive them? And that's what I want to talk about. If we receive these 7 frequencies, what are we actually receiving? What are we actually getting? And that's the part that I didn't even discuss before, and Spirit wants us to go there. It's seeking a heart that is not split between guilt and desire, between what it believes and what it knows, between the performance it offers and the truth that it carries. That's what it's looking for, this certain kind of light, this certain kind of lamp that's on the earth. And when these 7 eyes of the Lord, when these 7 frequencies and spirits, and when they find that heart, they do not judge it. Come on. They rest on it. They show themselves strong through that light. And so now the receiver of that light becomes a brighter lamp, doesn't it? So see, this is not a metaphor. This is truth. This is a law of how frequency works. If you want to know anything about the universe, Albert Einstein said this. If you want to know the secrets of the universe, think of everything in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Because those are the building blocks of everything that we see. This chair you're sitting in is energy. Everything has energy flowing through. And so they want to pay attention to these people who stop reacting and start broadcasting. So the question is, what are you broadcasting? What are you putting out into the atmosphere? Because what you put out into the atmosphere is going to come back to you. What are you putting out there? And what comes back to you is something you even want. So I found something else that goes a little bit more into these 7 spirits. And it's found in Isaiah chapter 11. And it's going to be verses 1 through 5. Isaiah chapter 11, 1 through 5. And we can do it from the NLT. And so I'm learning that these 7 spirits are basically throughout the whole scriptures. And not just the Bible, they're found in texts from all different cultures. So this tells me this is a universal law. It's not just for Christians. It's not just for believers. It's for every culture on the face of the earth. Isaiah 11, 1 through 5. And it says, out of the stump of David's family will grow a shoot. And a shoot is a new branch. That's what it says. Yes, a new branch bearing fruit from the old root. I like that. Bearing fruit from the old root. Here's what I want you to see. And the Spirit of the Lord will rest on him. And the Spirit of the Lord will rest on Mike. The Spirit of the Lord will rest on you, Sister Irma. The Spirit of the Lord will rest on him. The Spirit of wisdom and understanding. The Spirit of counsel and might. The Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord. He will delight in obeying the Lord. Who is he talking to? Does it sound like you? He will not judge by appearance, nor make a decision based on hearsay. Does that sound like you? He will give justice to the poor and make fair decisions for the exploited. The earth will shake at the force of his word. See, you don't think you have that kind of power. See, we know this is talking about Christ, but Christ is in you. So you will be able to do all these things this passage is talking about. Did you know that the earth will shake at the force of your word? And one breath from his mouth will destroy the wicked. He will wear righteousness. He will wear it like a belt, and truth like an undergarment. So the first thing I want you to notice about that, when the writer of this book was saying that the Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, he named 7 different things. There's that 7 frequencies again. He said, number 1, the Spirit of wisdom. Number 2, understanding. Number 3, Spirit of counsel. Number 4, might. Number 5, knowledge. Number 6, the fear of the Lord. And then the 7th one, he will delight in obeying the Lord. 7 frequencies, 7 spirits that are waiting to connect with someone whose light is shining bright. So Isaiah 11, 1 through 5 names 7 spirits that rest upon the awakened one. 7 qualities of that one essence of the Creator. 7 qualities. 7 ways that the pure essence of God expresses himself through the human form. Isn't that something? So understanding which frequency you carry is not optional. Because everyone in here, we said we're what? We're sovereign souls, right? So this is not an option that you can ignore. You cannot fully infiltrate the world. We talked about that, remember? You can't infiltrate the world with divine consciousness, divine knowing, divine power until you know specifically which quality of spirit you are transmitting. So what are you transmitting out into the world? Which one of these frequencies are you transmitting? So let's go through each one. That's what we're going to do today. So we may not be here long, but this is the only scripture that I have. So the first spirit is presence. The Spirit of the Lord. Now this is the frequency of pure I am. Before any thought, before any action, before doing, before saying anything, before performing. This is just being.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
With nothing else attached to that.
Yeah.
I am. And people that carry this frequency, you know what the word says? They're anchors. They're anchors in the world. They're able to be still. And their stillness calms the room before they even speak. You know, Christ had that presence when he walked into a room. Things changed. Things shifted in the atmosphere. That's what this person is. They have a spirit of the presence at all times. That's what they transmit. Their presence alone shifts the atmosphere. They do not need to prove anything. They don't need to explain anything. They don't need to defend anything. They simply are who they are. And in that reality, others begin to remember how to simply be as well. Because of your example, because of the example of Christ, they understand, I can become that. I can transmit that into the world. So the I of this frequency searches for those who have stopped striving long enough to become a resting place for the divine. That's one frequency. That's the frequency of presence. And some people carry that more strongly than others. And what I'm talking about is your primary gift. Because all of us inhabit these, every last one of these. But there is one of these qualities that is primary, and it stands out above the rest. So I want you to think about this. As I read this, I want you to think about, does that sound like me? Do we have one whose main objective is the presence? I already know we got one in here. I don't even have to say the name. I already know we have one in here that has that. The spirit of presence at all times, always attuned to that. Here's the second one. The second one that it talks about in Isaiah was the spirit of wisdom. The spirit of wisdom. Now this is the frequency of clear seeing, clear vision. This is not knowledge. This is not information. And we did that today. We experienced that today. It's the capacity to perceive what is actually true beneath the surface of all these appearances. See, appearances are one thing, but the spirit of wisdom says, I see it, but I know what's going on a deeper level. That's the spirit of wisdom. And people carrying this frequency see through your pretense. They see through your performance. They see through even the stories that people tell themselves. They are not fooled by charisma. I don't care how charismatic you may be, that doesn't move them. They don't care about your credentials, that doesn't move them. Your costumes, I call them, that you put on, they care nothing about that. The spirit of wisdom, they see the light in others and they see the pain. They see the light and they see the wound that you are carrying around. And they see both of them without flinching. So the eye of this frequency searches for those who have stopped lying to themselves. Because only the honest, only the pure, only the real can hold wisdom without turning it into a weapon. That's the spirit of wisdom. Does that sound like anybody? Does that sound like you out there? The third spirit is understanding. The spirit of understanding. Now, this is the frequency of discernment. And remember, these are things that the seven spirits want to impart into each and every one of us. But again, one of these is your primary frequency that you operate on. So the spirit of understanding, the frequency of discernment. So this is a capacity actually to know the difference between your frequency and another's person. Between what is yours to carry and what belongs to someone else. I love that because sometimes we try to take on and carry the things that other people are burdened with, but the spirit of understanding can discern that no, my frequency has this to carry, as well as your frequency has your own things to carry. And so the spirit of understanding recognizes that. So it would never take on what belongs to somebody else. I love that. It knows between the voice of your own soul and the echoes of voices that have been speaking inside your head since childhood. We have had so many voices come in and out of our thoughts and in our mind. But the spirit of understanding, they're not easily manipulated. They're not easily manipulated. They do not confuse guilt with guidance. They are forever guiding. They do not mistake fear for intuition. See, they have that knowing inside of them. So the I of this frequency searches for those who have learned to trust their own inner compass completely, even when it points somewhere lonely. See, it may tell you to go in a certain direction, and you will have that knowledge to trust that inner compass. Even though it may guide you to a place where you will be the only one who knows, the only one who understands. It may send you into a place where you don't even want to go. But you have that spirit of understanding what's going on around you at all times. Does that sound like anyone? Understanding? Frequency of discernment? Knowing the difference between your frequency and someone else's? So we move on to the fourth spirit. It said the fourth spirit is counsel. The spirit of counsel. Now, this is the frequency of inner guidance that does not require any external authority. I love that. You don't require any external authority. That means everything that you are about comes from within. And it's not because this person is arrogant, but because it has learned to listen to something deeper than the opinions of others. It has learned to do that. And people carrying this frequency are not desperate for direction. When you see people flock into these churches when they say, oh, I got a prophet over here, he's got a word for my life over here, and then they run into this church, oh, he's going to be over here. You're hungering and thirsting and begging for direction from somebody that's outside of you. And you're going here and there. What did the song just say? I looked high and low, still couldn't find nobody that's greater than him. But yet, we go to all these different places and all these different scenarios. We go from teacher to teacher, one system to another, one spiritual authority to another, seeking someone to tell them what to do. Or they just want to be accepted. So they go here and fro, wanting to be accepted. So this fourth spirit of counsel, they are comfortable in the silence. And in that silence, they ask their questions. And in the silence, they wait. In the silence, they listen. And when they move from alignment, not from anxiety. So the I of this frequency searches for those who have stopped outsourcing their knowing. I like that. How do we outsource our knowing? We outsource our knowing by going to somebody else to get what's already inside of us that we already know, that we should already know. So we outsource ourselves depending on other people's wisdom. That's the spirit of counsel. It knows where to go to get true counsel, in other words. What about the fifth spirit? It said the fifth spirit is might. The spirit of might. This is the frequency of power. Not power over others. Not manipulation. Not that kind of power. It's the power to enter and exit different states of being. Different states of consciousness. Different realms, different dimensions, different identities and relationships. And they can enter and exit at will. This is the power of might. I like that. The power to walk through a door that was previously closed. There are so many doors that are closed, and they're only closed because we don't have the power to open them. Because God never closes any door to you. If a door is closed, it's because of you. So the fifth spirit of might has the power to go to a door that was previously closed. The power to leave what no longer serves. And you don't look back. That's power. That's might. The ability to do that. If something no longer serves you, you leave it without looking back. And people carrying this frequency, they're not victims. They have learned that the only real prison is the one built by their own attachment. Who are you attaching yourself to and allowing yourself to become imprisoned? Because God says, I came to set you free. He sent the Son to set you free. And if you become imprisoned by attachment, and attachment could be people, attachment could be your job, it could be material possession, it could be anything that you so closely attached to that you say, this is part of who I am, this is part of my identity. That thing can become your prison. And if they do find themselves in a situation where there's fear of that happening, they know how to unlock that prison from the inside. They're not locked in. See, that's the beautiful thing about a person with power. Nobody can ever lock you in. Shut the door, turn the key. No, you have something on the inside. Say, I'll just open it from the inside. That's power. So the eye of this frequency searches for those who have stopped pretending that they are trapped. You know, there are so many people, they try to put burdens on you by saying, I don't know what to do. And you know what they do when they do that? They put the burden on you. Why don't you know what to do? Why are you acting like I'm your savior? That I can pull you out of your problem and your situation. See, the spirit of might never finds himself in that situation. Because the eye of that frequency searches for those who have stopped pretending that they are trapped. You are never trapped. You are never trapped. You're not capable of being trapped in any situation. And now we move on to the sixth spirit. The sixth spirit is knowledge. The spirit of knowledge. This is the frequency of inner sustenance. And what do I mean by that? We get our sustenance from food, don't we? We have to live with food. That gives us the energy. That gives us the life. But the spirit of knowledge, it gets its sustenance from within, the inner food, the bread, the manna from heaven, the word that comes directly from on high. That's their inner sustenance. And that's where they get the bread from, the bread of life. When Christ said, I came down, I am the bread of life. That's the sustenance. What really sustains us, what truly sustains us. Do you know what truly sustains you? Do you know what's really keeping you going and doing what you do and say what you say and be what you do? Do you really know who is sustaining you? And knowing that whoever or whatever is sustaining you, it don't come from reading books.
Come on.
It don't come from sermons.
Come on.
It don't come from anything outside of you, no external validation. And so the person that carries this frequency, they feed themselves. Isn't that wonderful? They get all of their food and their sustenance from within themselves. It does not run on the approval of others. It does not require constant reassurance. It has eaten from the tree of life and remembers what it tastes like. Eat from the tree of life. That's your inner sustenance. And so the I of this frequency searches for those who have stopped begging for bread and started eating from their own table. I love that. The I of this frequency searches for those who have stopped begging for bread and started eating from their own table. I like that. Isn't that something? And there are people that are doing that. They're begging for bread. They're begging to be filled. They're so hungry. And all they have to do is go inside and eat from their own table. The seventh spirit is, I love this word because the nurse said the fear of the Lord, but we know fear doesn't mean afraid. It means reverence, right? So the seventh spirit is awe. The spirit of the fear of the Lord, the spirit of awe. You know what? That word came to me years ago because I stayed in that place of awe, where God just kept doing things over and over and over, and I was just so speechless. I was just in awe. That's what that is. And some of you, if you have that as your prominent, boy, you are something. Because that means God is constantly showing you. God is constantly revealing to you. And you can't even get out of that state. You just become a person just in awe every single day. Who wouldn't want that? See, he's not talking about terror, the fear of the Lord. See, a lot of people say they're afraid of God. They're afraid of prayer because of what he'll do to me. That's not the God we serve. That's not the true God. That's an Elohim that is pretending to be God. You don't cower in fear before an angry deity, but that's what a lot of people do. But in awe, you have this trembling, this resonance that occurs when a finite being like me encounters the infinite. The finite encounters the infinite. And that puts me in awe. It's the frequency of surrender without weakness. I can surrender to the Creator, but it doesn't mean I'm weak. That submission is not weak. It's the only thing I can do in the presence. It means that I can abide with my God without striving. That's almost like you're walking hand in hand with God and you're just striving to do this and he's holding your hand and what are you doing? Why are you striving? I've got you by the hand and you're just going to and fro doing everything. So you learn how to abide in him without striving. Because the thing you're striving for, you already have. Right? We've learned that. That's a part of our mantra, right? Knowing that you are the branch. You're not the vine, but you're the branch. And that fruit comes not from effort, but from flow. So you look at a tree. You look at fruit trees. You look at regular trees. They're not striving. They're being who they are, and that life flows through them, and guess what? They bear fruit. Automatically. It's just a part of who they are. That's how we have to be. So people carrying this frequency, they don't force anything. They learn to wait. Remember the promise that he gave Abraham? He told him he was going to have his son Isaac, and he was like, how am I going to have a son? And so what did the wife do? She went out and said, well, we're going to help do that. We're going to bring you this slave girl in, and you lie with her, and that way you're going to have a son. See, the spirit that is in awe knows I don't have to help God. I don't have to help the Creator. I can learn to wait. I don't force. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. That's what he tells his people. They don't manufacture things. They don't try to make things happen. They don't even try to perform to make it happen. They just abide. And in the abiding, everything that needs to grow is going to grow. Mike, it's going to naturally grow.
Yes, sir.
Because you are who you are. And if you have that frequency of life in you, it's going to bear fruit from you naturally, without you striving for it, without you even asking for it. He said, just be. So the eye of this frequency searches for those who have stopped trying to be the source. See, you're trying to take the place of your Creator. You're trying to make things happen on your own. And instead, you become a vessel that the Spirit can work through and live through and bear fruit through. It's a vessel for your source to live through. So what does this mean for all of us? I was excited about this because I knew about the 7 eyes, I knew about the 7 spirits, but I didn't know exactly what they were going to impart in us. And the book of Isaiah told us it's going to impart all these things to us. So each person that are hearing this, you carry one of these frequencies as your primary source. You have them all, but one of these is your primary transmission. It's not something we chose. We didn't choose it. It chose us. Remember, Christ told the disciples, you didn't choose me. When he said, I chose you. So that's how these 7 eyes of the spirits work. They chose you for this primary transmission. And it is the quality of your divine consciousness our soul agreed to express when we came into these bodies. So let me say this. Most of us have spent years, even decades, trying to be all 7 of them at once. Trying to express every quality of divine consciousness simultaneously at the same time. And in doing so, you're scattering yourself. Because even though you may have all 7 of those, you're striving to be all of them at the same time. That's not how that works. You have to understand it's in you, and the thing that may not be your primary transmission, it will show up when it's needed. Like if I'm studying something, and I may not carry the primary frequency of knowledge, but when I need that spirit of knowledge, because it's in me, it's going to show up. And it's going to give me what I need. See what I'm saying? You don't force these things. You don't try to say, give me the spirit, give me this spirit, give me that spirit. I'm ready to receive it all. Well, yeah. You already have those things. And when you need those things, that's when they will appear. That's what it looks like. So the invitation is this. Know the frequency you carry. Did any of those things sound familiar to any of you? Could some of those resonate more with you than some of the others? Like, did you kind of hone in on your primary transmission? I would like to hear that from you guys later. Know which frequency you carry. Stop trying to be all 7. Focus around your specific light. And let your I am become singular and stable. And when you do that, you stop fragmenting yourself. And then, because you know what we said, when you fragment yourself, the 7 eyes, you become invisible. Remember that? So this is what is called mastery. This is when you master yourself. This is when you truly become divine. This is when you truly become a light in this world. The fixed star Polaris, that's my spiritual name, that fixed star Polaris does not try to be every other star in the sky. It's one star, and it holds its position. It burns with its own specific light. And because of that, navigators, centuries and centuries, have steered directions by that one light because they knew what direction that northern star was in. And that's all it does. That's its purpose. Although there are billions and billions of other stars around them, they fixed on their position. There are billions and billions of people around you, but you have to become fixed on your position, your frequency, your light. And that's mastery. So be the frequency that you are, completely, without apology, without fragmenting yourself, and then watch that I find you. God bless.